everybody, welcome to the channel. I've got a question for you. What would convince you to support the use of nuclear weapons? What kind of scenario would have to happen for you to support the use of nuclear weapons? And as you think about that, or before you think about it, I want you to look around. If you have kids in the house, I want you to think of your kids. If you have grandkids, I want you to think of your grandkids. I want you to think of the trees outside, the forest, the streams. Think about these things, because in a major nuclear war, all this goes away. All of it goes away. Even saying life as we know it, life, everything is going to be destroyed in a nuclear war. So I want the gravity of it to sink in when you think about that, because sometimes if we say, if we need to use them, we use them. But think about what the cost is. I mean, one situation comes to mind with me. If we were attacked with nuclear weapons, of course we've got to respond. But what kind of a situation, or what would the circumstances have to be for you to be willing to call up your congressperson and tell them, you know what, I support using nuclear weapons in this scenario? What would it be? If Russia, this is hypothetical, if Russia was to nuke France, would you be okay with us nuking Russia in response? France is a NATO member, and of course, if we nuke Russia, they would respond back. And just to get an idea of how countries stack up in this situation, and I'm going to get to why I'm talking about this in just a little bit. But let's kind of get an idea, and I've got it up on the screen now. I don't know if you can read it, but there are 12,512 warheads, nuclear warheads in the world by best accounts, 12,512. Out of these, Russia possessed 5,889, almost 6,000 of them. Russia has almost half of the nuclear arsenal in the world. Close behind them is the United States, us, 52-24. Then we step down to China with 410. Okay, that's a big step down, but believe me, I would suspect if we look at the payload on these nuclear warheads, that's still a lot of nuclear warhead. That's a lot of nuclear power. France, 290. UK, 225. Pakistan, which kind of surprised me, but Pakistan has 170 nuclear warheads, nuclear weapons. India, right there with them at 164. Israel is estimated to have around 90. They don't admit to any, but everybody, the experts, they estimate that they do indeed have around 90. And then North Korea has estimated they have now developed 30. So what I'm trying to get at, when we look at the news every day and we see these situations going on, like right now in the Middle East with Israel and, the neighboring states coming, we're at a point here where we could have a major outbreak, a major regional war that could go bigger. And then we have the situation in Ukraine and Russia. What I'm asking you is to now, while things are calm, think about what it would take for you to get on board with the use of nuclear weapons. Because the warheads that's out there, it would be complete annihilation of the planet. You would not want to survive the initial impact, because what's in store for you is even worse. So we have to be careful when we throw in our chips on these conflicts around the world, because things could get out of hand very fast. And when the nuclear age started, that changed everything with warfare. Yeah, conventional warfare is used in contained areas. We have conventional warfare going on right now in Russia and, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Conventional warfare is going on throughout the Middle East all the time. But that's in regional issues. If a nuclear state, if they thought their nation was an existential threat of being annihilated, they're most likely going to use nuclear weapons. Russia, I'm sure Russia, if Vladimir Putin thought that his nation was about to fall, he would use nuclear weapons. And I would suspect the United States would too. I mean, if it come to a circumstance where if we didn't use them, we had no chance of surviving, we would use them. And probably all the other nuclear nations would too. So we have to be careful when we get this bellicose and we hear these pundits in Washington and these neocons, the Lindsey Grahams and the John Boltons of the world. I mean, everything they see, the solution is war to everything. These guys, I think they would actually get off on a nuclear war if they thought they could survive it. And it's sick, because when you're dealing with nuclear powers such as Russia, I mean, we're poking Russia. It's like we're taking a sharp stick and poking Russia. We're doing it through Ukraine, through this proxy war, because we think, and we're being told that Putin wants to conquer Europe and then I guess come after us. That's what we're supposed to believe. That we're led to believe that. No, first thing, Putin does not want to control all of Ukraine. Do you know how costly it is to occupy a land that doesn't want you there? His interest lies in creating a buffer in the eastern part of Ukraine, where it's mostly Russian-speaking people anyway, and they mostly identify with Russia. He's creating a buffer because we're saying now that Ukraine's going to be part of NATO. So my point in all of this is we can't keep poking the bear. We can't keep poking these countries that have these nuclear weapons, because it's not going to lead to anything good. We're not going to change the regime in Russia. Okay, we're not going to change their government. They are a super nuclear power, just like they're not going to conquer or change us. We are super nuclear power. They're not going to do it to France or to UK or to Germany or to any of those Western European nations. Because why? Because of nuclear weapons. Things have changed. This is not World War II anymore. Just because you can't have a big army, a big mechanized groups and tanks and air power and everything. You're not going to conquer nations that way anymore. Not nuclear power, not nuclear nations that have nuclear warheads. You're not going to do it. And all the nations know that. So we're being fed this big crock of crap about that Russia is a threat to the Western world. And China is a threat to the Western world. I don't think either one of those countries want to start a nuclear war. But I firmly believe if pushed into a corner that they would. And it seems to me that there are people in this nation, people in Washington, that are trying to do just that. They are willing to take a chance on a nuclear confrontation to prove their point. And that is insane. That is insane that we would be even thinking about that. When you have nations with nuclear weapons, you have to negotiate. You have to have diplomacy. You're not going to get it through brute force. Now, we can try to fight our proxy wars like we're doing with Ukraine, but it's not going to happen. This Ukrainian thing, from the beginning, it was going to fail. And the sad part is the Western leaders knew that. They knew there's no way Ukraine could stand up and repel Russia. The math is just not there. Russia's population is so much bigger. They have such a larger pool of manpower to pull from for their armies. Their manufacturing capacity is for defense weapons is even greater than the United States and NATO put together. They can outproduce us on tanks, missiles, planes. They can outproduce us on all of those things. So this was never going to be a situation where Ukraine was going to be able to repel Russia. And it's really sad because hundreds of thousands of people have lost their lives. There was a solution shortly after it started, and it was scuttled by Boris Johnson, probably at the orders of Washington. Their negotiated settlement was on the table that would have worked for everyone and ended it then, and the West scuttled it. Why? I don't know. That's a question that should be answered. Boris Johnson should be made to answer that question. Who gave your marching orders to go over there and basically order Ukraine, no, don't accept it? So with all this said, that's what I'm asking. Just think about when you support these politicians, because you have a voice, and you can demand change. Don't let these war hawks in Washington destroy our nation. There is no threat to us from Russia. There is no threat to Western Europe from Russia. It's not there. There's no threat to us from China. The United States will never be conquered by any other nation because of nuclear weapons. Even if we had a small army, they wouldn't dare come in because they know it would be total annihilation for everybody. So we need to stop listening to Washington, and the news media and the pundits. I love it when these retired generals get on the major networks. There's a one on Fox News. I don't know if you watch Fox, and I'm not going to call names, but he's on there on one of the shows every night. And of course, everything to him looks like danger, danger, danger. We've got to beef up the military. We've got to get forces here. We've got to do that. We can't let them get away with that. And it'd be interesting to know how many defense contractor boards he sits on, and there's plenty of others. And for some reason, I've actually found you get more accurate information and more detailed information from colonels than you do generals. And I wonder why. Maybe it's something to do. I'm sure to be a general in today's world, you have to kiss a lot of political ass to be a general, to climb the ranks. And I think the colonels are probably people that should have been generals, but they wouldn't kiss the ass. So they remain colonels. But they're the ones that would really just look around at some of these colonels and listen to what they say, and then listen to how things turn out. And you see, they're really the ones that really can give you an accurate picture of what's going on. But anyway, that's enough on this. I just wanted to talk about that. And the main focus was the nuclear weapons. And these nations have nuclear weapons. Some of these nations that have a lot of nuclear weapons, we're being told that we need to, poke them with a stick, back them in a corner. No, we don't want to do that. We do not want to do that. So folks, think about it and comment, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.